For his whole life, Dave has wanted what other people have wanted. He's always spying on the neighbours, comparing his garden to theirs, and he's forever letting others dictate what's important in his life. Until recently, one of his desires was fulfilled. He finally got what someone else had. But then he realised what he got wasn't what he wanted at all. Luckily for Dave, there's a book I've recommended him which he's reading right now. The book is called Wanting: The Power of Mimetic Desire in Everyday Life by Luke Burgess. And it's the deep lessons in this book we're going to be dissecting today. Essentially, the book highlights the powerful force of mimetic desire, which is basically where we want what other people want through our desire to imitate them. This video is going to arm us with the knowledge of how to be anti-mimetic and to appear otherworldly in other people's eyes. And we're going to do so through 6 points, such as understanding exactly what motivates you so you can conquer thin desires, a question framework you can use to conquer any desire, how to discover the meaningful, thick desires we actually want, plus more. Let's go. We are generally fascinated with people who have a different relationship to desire, real or perceived. When people don't seem to care what other people want or don't want the same things, they seem otherworldly. They appear less affected by mimesis, anti-mimetic even. And that's fascinating because most of us aren't. Point number 1, what motivates you? It's important that we understand how we're motivated throughout life because that will give us a greater hold on seeing what desires are worth cultivating and what ones are worth not cultivating.
No, fuck yeah. It's a no.
There you go. In the book, he highlights that we can mainly be motivated through 3 different ways, and usually you'll lean towards one in particular. Point number 1, explore. People motivated to explore want to press beyond their existing limits of knowledge and experiences to discover what is unknown or mysterious to them. Number 2, master. Someone motivated in this way will want to conquer a skill, technique, procedure, study, discipline. Number 3, comprehend and express. Mainly like a teacher, you'll want to learn things which you can then digest and then share to others so it may benefit their life. For me, definitely it would be master and comprehend and express. To be fair, I resonate with all 3 of them, but I would say comprehend and express is mainly what I do. And if you pay attention to what people do instead of what they say, that's a better gauge on their values, innit? Point number 2, who our desires can be influenced by. There are mainly 2 different realms of people that can influence what you desire. You got Freshmanistan. I don't know if that's Freshmanistan or Freshmanism. This is the immediate circle of people you have around you who you kind of mimetically compete with. Now remember, mimetic means where we desire what other people want. People can also desire what we want as well, if we are within their immediate circle of people. He says people in this realm, like our friends, family, others in our immediate environment, this is usually negative mimesis because we can easily fall into the chaotic and toxic trap of competing with others. And then we've got Celebristan. These are people who exist in another realm to you. Maybe they're a celebrity or they're from the past and they're dead. Mimesis from these people is largely positive because we understand we'll never be able to compete with them. My thoughts on this is that I don't necessarily think that mimesis from people in our immediate environment is always negative. For example, I have friends who have things that I now want because I see that it has a positive influence on their life. For example, my friend Joe, he's got very good communication skills, so that is something that I always want to develop because I see the importance of it in everyday life. My other friend Joe has a little daughter and I already wanted kids, but seeing him interact with his daughter and have a family has highlighted the importance of that for me even more. I think mimesis probably becomes negative in your immediate environment when you jump ship on things too easily. Here's an awesome clip from Alex Hormozy explaining this.
Who here has had a buddy tell you about something that they're doing and they're making a lot of money doing it, and then you immediately feel shitty about what you're doing and then think, I should get out of my opportunity vehicle, go over here and do what they're doing? Who's felt that? Thank you, everyone has. The reason is because we're at step 1, which is uninformed optimism. You don't know enough about what they're saying, they're just giving you the highlight. They're giving you the Instagram reel. They're not giving you the real. Once you decide to get out of your little vehicle and then go over there, then you tell your buddy, you're like, hey, why am I not making money? He's like, oh, well, there's like 100 other fucking steps that I didn't talk to you about in the beginning, but like, and it's actually nearly impossible, and I got really lucky that one time. And now all of a sudden it looks like all the people at your old job are making more money than you. But yeah, Let's keep doing it. So you move to stage 2, which is informed pessimism.
Essentially what he's saying is if you don't have your mind fixed on what you're doing and you're not sure about your plan and your values in life, then other people's suggestions will affect you more and you will want to copy them more readily. But if you have a better grasp on what you're doing and you have your vision in mind, then you won't be as affected by those things. Point number 3, conquering desire. So when we're faced with a desire, one that is usually quite thin and for some reason maybe we've adopted it in our life, maybe our family want us to want it, or we're on social media and we found that we want this thing because everyone else has this thing. Here are some questions to discern whether this is actually something worth keeping in your life. Point number 1, pay attention to the inner feelings of your heart when you consider the answer to the question, what would it mean for me to actually get this thing? Really think about what would it mean to have this desire fulfilled. Number 2, ask what desire is more generous and loving. Number 3, put yourself on your deathbed in your mind's eye and ask yourself which desire you would be at peace with having followed. Number 4, ask yourself where this desire comes from. Really get to the root. Has it come from social media? Has it come from peer pressure in your friendship group? Has it come from an unfulfilled desire that your parents didn't fulfill when they were younger, which they're now throwing on you? Number 5, figure out the metrics of the current desire and transcend it. For example, if you find yourself wanting a specific achievement and the metrics of that achievement is a university degree, grade on a particular test, he says, if you understand the systems of desire that colour the choices of people around you, you're more likely to see emergent possibilities by daring to look in different directions. Make visible what is invisible. Mark the boundaries of your current world of wanting and you'll gain the ability, at least the possibility, to transcend it. I think a good example here is a university degree. So in my example, technically I'm studying psychology at university. So I've done my first year, but I've deferred it to focus on YouTube. I can return to it, but when I dissect it in this framework, what it makes me think is the metric of the desire is getting a degree. So you can say you have a degree, but what I want is to actually learn about the truths of life. So thinking about the metric at hold in the desire has allowed me to venture into other avenues where I could fulfill the same desire of wanting to learn, which is through reading, listening to podcasts, having my own podcast and my own YouTube channel where I can help and teach other people. Will I return to my degree? Stay tuned. The feelings are often more intense the thinner a desire is. Point number 4, the roles of values when discerning desires. This is a key point, and we do talk about values a lot on this YouTube channel, but let's talk about them some more. This book helped me realise that it's not just enough to know your values, you have to rank them, because you'll be put in situations where your values will be challenged, and if you don't have them in a hierarchy, then that will probably breed indecision. For example, let's say your top 3 values are number 1, your mental health, number 2, your family, and then number 3, friendships. Let's say you hadn't ranked them and they were all just as important as each other, and then you're put in a situation where you don't want to do something that your family and friends want you to do. Do you prioritise your mental health? Do you prioritise your family? Or do you prioritise your friends? When you rank them, number 1, mental health. Okay, I can't pour from an empty cup. I'm prioritising myself. It removes indecision, because when every value is as important as the other, it's like highlighting every page in a book. Everything becomes important, therefore nothing is important. Number 5, how to discover thick desires. He says the best way to discover good desires in the book, and I agree with this, is silence. Before we dissect that, when you think about social media and what it is, social media is literally a flywheel of mimesis where other people are showing us what to want. So when you step away from something like social media, when you embrace solitude and go into silence and you go on a silent retreat or you go on a holiday by yourself for a few days, you allow yourself to really think about what's important in your life. There's a chapter from one of my favourite books, The Way of the Superior Man, restore your purpose in solitude or with other men. You probably won't figure out what's really important to you engaged in social media and all of these resources of cheap dopamine. Be silent. Point number 6, the flywheel of momentum, how to enhance good desires. If you imagine a sequence of events, let's pick working out. If you start exercising, it creates a logic where you can't help but eat healthy, where you can't help but go to sleep at the right time, where you can't help but be consistent. So you can tap into the benefit of the flywheel of momentum by figuring out a desire and then thinking about how it maps onto other desires in your life. Figuring out your purpose in life means you can't help but go to bed early, which means you can't help but take care of your health so you're more productive, which means you can't help but be more present with other people because you've already done the productive work during the day. That's it. But before we go, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Question number 1. What is the most difficult sacrifice you've ever had to make for the truth? And number 2, tell me in the comments about a time in your life when you did something well and it brought you a lasting sense of fulfillment. And as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next one. Adios, muchachos.